See what the Toledo News.
They were
gets.
live. Right.
All right. I'd like to welcome everybody to our scheduled organizational meeting to start off the new year. Elected board members. Meeting to order, 6 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Shane.
Yes.
Go ahead. Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll read a statement here that's been prepared for the oath of office for Tim, Katie, and Chuck, and then at the end, the answers, I do, if you agree with the statement. So, do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as members of the Board of Education of North Central Local School District, Williams County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office, and until your successor is elected and qualified? If so, the answer would be I do.
I do.
Thank you. I'll take it back.
Welcome back, Tim, and welcome, Chuck and Katie. Over to work again. Next will be the election of officers. Any member of the board may nominate themselves or any other member for president or vice president. Nominations do not require a second. If more than one person is nominated for either position, the treasurer must then publicly call the roll. A majority vote of all members of the board is necessary to elect an officer. I'll begin with nominations for president.
Anthony.
Thank you. We need to vote on that.
If there's only one, you don't have to.
Nominations for vice president. Nominate Mr. Livengood this year.
I'll second. As long as you're not gonna miss any meetings.
Me? No, we usually don't miss too many.
Oh, and then we will.
Yes, that one will.
We usually arrange it
And then at
pretty good.
the end, we'll just, then we'll do a res for both of us.
So I need a resolution to approve myself, Anthony, as president, and to approve Tim Livengood as vice president for the 2020 calendar year. I need a motion.
I'll motion.
Second,
Sure.
roll call.
Tim,
Yes.
Shane,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Chuck.
Yes.
Next will be schedule of meetings for 2022. The organizational meeting, we will set the time, date, and location for all regular meetings. I think everybody got an email from Mr. Anick with tentative dates. I believe we generally run third Tuesday of every month at 6:30 currently. On that list, there was one exception, and that would have been next month. There is a basketball game on the. third
Yeah, the reason I moved it to the next month is I saw we had a boys basketball game in Apple Hills. I didn't know if you wanted to have a board meeting that same day, so I proposed that, but you don't have to do that. You can move it to Monday, you can, whatever you guys want.
So that went to the fourth Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, so
And then
it's just a thought.
these aren't set in stone. I mean, we definitely are flexible throughout the year. We all have kids in sports and would like to attend those. And if we fit the meetings here and there, we definitely try to do so.
I'm all for that. I like Tuesdays, but
Stick with
it's fine.
third
Whatever you
Tuesdays
wanna
of
do.
every month. Tentative for now.
Well, first of all, is the 22nd for February, okay? Is that a problem?
That was moved off the basketball game.
Yes.
Yes,
That
that is not.
Yep.
It's a
It's
Tuesday,
a
it'd be the
Tuesday.
fourth.
Still
It's a
Tuesday.
Tuesday, but
It's just-
instead of the 3rd, it's the 4th, that's all. That was what I did.
Everything
Or
else is
proposed.
the third Tuesday.
Is the time, okay, 6:30 or is it on a different time?
I'm still good with 6:30.
6:30.
By
Everybody?
time, give you time to get home and eat.
Okay, so we would say February 22nd would be February's,
Yeah, 22nd,
okay, and then
March 15th.
March 15th, just making sure, 6:30.
April 19th.
Yeah, I had the wrong date. I put April 22nd. Tuesday, April 22nd does not exist. It's April 19th. Sent that.
May 17th,
It's May 17th.
June 28th,
And that one's not the third Tuesday due to final appropriations at the end of
Correct.
the fiscal year.
You said 28th.
yes. We do that at the end of June. Years back, we used to do 2 meetings, but there's really no reason to, so we move it towards the end of the month. That way Eric can get his books all taken care of and we can close out to the end of the year. So we do it June 28th. That way we only need to meet once.
Unless you guys want to. I mean, that's up to you.
July 19th. August 16th.
Do we know how that one falls with? We have
School.
open
calendar
house.
next year, like open house and usually that August one.
Yeah, that one year we had a meeting
Yes.
during
Yes,
open house. Didn't work the best.
Yeah, we don't have the calendar complete yet. We haven't voted on it, so
okay.
that will be happening like tomorrow. Good,
Yeah,
it could.
soon.
Okay, we'll have 2 calendars out and we'll soon, okay?
We can, yeah, definitely always adjust.
And if it's a problem, Shane, like it falls on the night of that, I mean, I don't think anybody here is going to
No.
make a big deal if we have to move it or.
Okay.
September 20th be the next one. October 18th. November 15th. And December 20th. All at 6:30.
And sometimes the December one, if you want to do it earlier in the month, that's always a possibility too.
The November one's about as early as it can be.
Yes.
so If we move
Right.
that up a week,
Because
stay
of-
away from Christmas.
So that's just something, food for thought, that's your guys.
All these days work for everybody? For now? I will need a motion to approve the dates as just mentioned and listed for the 2022 calendar. Second? Roll call.
Shane,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yeah.
Tim.
Yes. Appointments for the following committees listed: Buildings and Grounds Committee, Audit Committee, Legislative Liaison, Student Educational and Achievement Liaison. That's a existing one with some more wording added to it, and Superintendent Pro Tem. Start with the Building and Grounds Committee. Anybody would like to be on that?
I'll do it.
Chuck? I've been on that for several years. That's still entertaining. Nobody else wants to. Audit Committee. You think, what, you meet once a year, twice a year with Mr. Schmelzer?
Once to twice.
I was on my board, I'll continue.
Legislative Liaison.
Get a lot of mail. Is that, I mean, were you that last year? Or was Homer?
Yeah, I've been certain that once or twice, get a lot of email,
Okay.
basically. But I think Mr. Hannick pretty much filters it to you as well.
I can do it.
Just looking.
Because we know you love emails, right?
I hate emails.
Sounds like a good fit. The Student Educational and Achievement Liaison. Like I say, this used to just be Achievement Liaison. We had Student Educational and Achievement. I would like to see this become an active group meeting within the school a few times a year, setting up with maybe a couple staff members and even bringing some seniors into it for input and gather some thoughts on how we can improve throughout the year.
I would actually like to be on that one.
Anybody else? I would entertain sitting on it as well. Nobody else? And Superintendent Pro Tem. Mrs. Roseman. Did I see a hand? Did you have a hand?
Dr. Rose.
Volunteer.
All right.
I think in the years that I've been here, it's always been the high school
Yeah, that's
principal,
all.
just in case the superintendent is not there to.
Yeah. All right, so we will need a motion for buildings and grounds will be Chuck and myself. Audit committee will be Tim and Shane. Katie, or legislative liaison will be Katie. Student educational and achievement liaison will be Katie and myself. And superintendent pro tem will be Mrs. Rosebank. Do I have a motion? And second,
I'll second.
roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yep.
Tim,
Yeah.
Shane.
Yes.
Next up is the authorizations. Resolution to approve the following authorizations. Dispense of the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting. Appoint the treasurer as a representative for public records. Training for all board members is required. Treasurer to secure cash advances from county auditor when funds become available and payable to the district. Treasurer to pay all invoices within the limits of the appropriations as invoices are received. Treasurer to invest active and inactive funds in the most productive rates. Treasurer to post interest to the bond retirement fund and the permanent improvement fund. Authorize the treasurer to file requests for amendments of the certificate of estimated resources with the Williams County Auditor as information becomes available to the treasurer to warrant such filing. Authorize the treasurer to make fund advances, advance returns, transfers, and appropriation changes as needed throughout the year with board ratification as part of the financial reports at the next meeting. Authorize the superintendent and treasurer to enter into or accept, participate in federal, state, or local grants or agreements deemed advantageous to the school district, and authorize the treasurer to appropriate funds for grants awarded. Authorize the superintendent or treasurer to accept all donations to the school district on behalf of the board. Authorize the superintendent during periods when the board is not in session to make offers of employment directly to candidates for either teaching or non-teaching positions on behalf of the board and to acknowledge acceptance of such offers on behalf of the board, subject to a subsequent vote of ratification by the board. Provided, however, that upon ratification by the board, the employment shall be deemed effective as of the date and time of the employee's acceptance of the superintendent's offer. To authorize the superintendent on behalf of the board to accept resignations which have been submitted by employees during times when the board is not in session, subject to ratification by the board, provided, however, that upon ratification by the board, such resignations shall be deemed effective as of the date and time of the superintendent's acceptance. Appoint the superintendent as the purchasing agent for 2022 with authorization to initiate expenditures up to $25,000 with appropriations without prior board approval. Superintendent to authorize attendance at conferences and meetings at staff members' request. To authorize the superintendent to sign college credit plus agreements with post-secondary institutions. Authorize the superintendent on behalf of the board to waive fees for students in certain situations. Attendance at the following meetings. Local, district, state, and national meetings for members of the Board of Education. Local, district, state, and national meetings for the treasurer. Local, district, state, and national meetings for the superintendent, including recruitment and certification meetings. Local, district, state, and national meetings for the principals, including recruitment meetings. And that is it on that list. I need a motion for the approval to adopt the district policies as written. Tim, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? I will just note one thing, on here. It says the superintendent can spend up to 25,000. I believe the state allows 50,000, correct?
Yep.
But we've decided to keep it at 25.
Roll call.
Katie,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yep.
Tim,
Yes.
Shane,
Yes.
Anthony.
Yes. That will conclude the organizational meeting. I need a motion to adjourn. A second,
Second.
roll call.
Chuck,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Shane,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Katie.
17.
Are we gonna wait till 6:30 to start the next one?
The way we advertise it was this one would start right after, and the regular would start after the organizational thing, but I gotta use the restroom or anything
Yeah,
maybe that might be
Someone was calling. my
Okay.
phone from
Well-
town.
before we start.
Yes.
I will send you guys invites for each and every board meeting. I'll make sure that you get an invite so it goes on. I've got two.
You are an email.
You will, yeah, you will enjoy, get flooded with emails.
Oh, my God.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
I had to write my initials on the roll call. I don't even know where I wrote it. Oh, on the motion and second. I do think on my phone, right? Yeah. Places what I used to write all the time.
Across the
Oh, it
table,
was
it
mine
was-
earlier, so it's like,
Usually I have it in my pocket, but I took it out to put the numbers in and I knocked it out. Absolutely nothing important.
of course.
I think so. Everybody ready to move forward?
6:18.
We'll call to order the meeting, 6:18. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Anthony,
Yes.
Katie,
Here.
Chuck,
Yes.
Tim,
Yep.
Shane. Here.
Items from board members.
I would just like to commend our administration and our staff. Officers, how things ran today. I mean, teachers, everybody just. It was calm, it was organized, it was, well, not that we have to do that again, but given the circumstances, I thought it was handled very. And I heard lots of compliments.
I agree. Thank you. How do you, I had a question of how you guys think it ran, and I know we perform drills a couple times a year, and
Well, it's one of those things that you'd like to think that you're always prepared for. And we do an annual drill, we do other lockdown drills. And I think that there are many right ways to do things depending upon the scenarios that are given. And sometimes you can't predict those scenarios. And sometimes, we have to take the opportunity to take a look at the credibility that's there, the level of that perceived threat. And at the end of the day, we can't waver on taking a look at the safety and security of our staff and our kids. So we did sit down afterwards and we had a good conversation. Back in my days in the military, we called them after action reviews, and we took the opportunity to kind of discuss the things that didn't go so well, and some of the things that went well, and areas that we can improve, and where do we go from here. So we've taken the opportunity, we've making some notes, we'll make some minor adjustments going forward. Unfortunately, it's a society that we live in. We don't ever hope we have to do this ever again, Speaking on my own behalf, after having been in this profession for over 34 years, I never thought I'd ever have to train for this. And I'm sure that there are staff and teachers that went to college and thought, I'm going to go to school because I'm going to teach, not be first responders. But at the end of the day, they are our first responders. I've said it before and I'll say it again, that our teachers quite often, they spend more conscious time with our children than their own parents do, more often times than not. And so therefore, that role of teacher, now you wear many hats, and you have to be a first responder. You have to know what's in your room, what's available to you, and how to respond at a moment's notice. And so I appreciate all of the assistance that was rendered today. There was a lot of volunteers that were willing to step up and involve themselves in situations that, or a situation that they didn't really know, where that was going to go or how it was going to turn out. It turned out well. I think we just continue to improve from here, and we're hopeful that parents take opportunities and time to talk with their kids and prepare them for the unknown. It's unfortunate, but it's the world that we live in. So we will continue to do organizational planning and look to try to organize additional drills that we can continue to make it. We always say, train as you fight, fight as you train. So we want them to know that it's second nature. When something happens, these kids know what to do. And it's amazing some of the trainings that I've been through where I've seen students react and conduct themselves and control themselves sometimes so much more level-headed than the adults. Because as adults, we think we can fix it all, and we can't. We'd like to think that as adults, we know how we're going to react or how we're going to respond, but you don't know until that situation has placed you in that situation. So, but again, to kind of mirror what Shane said, the staff came together well today. I think they did a great job. It was well organized. There was a few little hiccups, but we were able to get those ironed out, and I think things went very smoothly. So my hat's off to this district for responding promptly, and I look forward to continuing to work with you, improving the relationships that we have.
thank you for sure. And then, I don't know, would there be any kind of counseling or anything? I've seen parents posting some issues, and I noticed a lot of upset kids leaving the church, almost crying, and kind of took it pretty hard, a little scared. Will we be offering anything like that tomorrow to the kids coming back, or?
I'm sure Becky will. Right, for the little ones. I didn't notice anything that ornery with my students.
If there is a need, we will.
Then we will do it, absolutely.
Thank you, Chief, and well done. I had one thing with the newly elected board and the new year. I want to touch on if we wanted to continue to live stream our board meetings. It is not necessary. It's just kind of an option we've been continuing to do here at the school. And at this time, it's kind of your decision, my decision, not our decision now, where we go with it. We'd like to continue live streaming them. Oh. Any thoughts on that?
I'd like to see more people show up. And I think that was one of the things, Chuck, that we, when we originally came out with this was, obviously it originated, during, the COVID pandemic. And we wanted to continue to allow participation from the North Central community. And so we, much like everybody else in the business world and everything else, we're trying to find viable options to get our information out, communicate with the public. But again, I think I might recommend that, we record them and we can post them if people wish to watch them. That's up to them. But again, I think like Mr. Haynes said down there, I'd like to see people come to our meetings.
Katie, Shane, anything else?
I can second what's been said so far.
That's what I was gonna say. You have your certain people that like to talk, and then you have your certain people that like to come and be a part of it. And I
Mhm.
think if we take the Zoom off, you'll still have, you'll have those people that really care or have issues.
Want to be a part of it, and we'll
Yeah.
be here in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Do we need to make a motion to end the,
We don't have
Live
to, just
streaming
tell me
or-
you wanted it ended, but you want to record the meetings and post them out?
I think at least recording them to, where people can get on our school website and view the. What's everybody else's thoughts?
I agree with that. Yeah, I don't see that.
And they can watch them and maybe that'll
Yeah,
spur something up. They'll want to come to the next meeting and voice some concerns, compliments and.
At least that way they can watch them at their leisure. They
Mhm.
might not be able to catch it, right away, but or be here, but they can at least see what was discussed. So.
Anything else, from anybody? All right, so we'll move on to introduction of guests. I think we have Mrs. Tracy presenting for the FFA.
Just me, no students this time. Travis is supposed to,
Yep, there it goes.
there we go. He's gonna try and keep up with me, hopefully.
He's pretty good at this. so.
That's ready.
I just want to tell you,
Yeah,
I'll warn you now, he's good.
for sure. I didn't get to do a presentation last school year, but then again, we weren't very active last school year as like all trips were canceled, pretty much everything FFA wise happened virtually. So it was a very unusual year. We used to be super active pretty much all the time. One thing that I will start off with is if you follow us on Facebook, awesome. If you don't, you can follow us on Facebook at North Central FFA. We do not have an Instagram because I'm old. So I'm not really into that. So if you do follow us on Facebook, you probably know about our rabbit Bam Bam. He passed away over the summer, so we have a new classroom rabbit. Her name is Aggie, and she is way sassier than he was, but that's neither here nor there. So we'll move on. Travis.
Next slide.
Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of take you like through a year up until where we're at now. We start off with the Williams County Fair. We usually have a really good presence at the fair, not necessarily with like livestock projects. We only had about 5 students exhibiting livestock this year, but we do showcase a lot of student projects in the Gillette building in the FFA area that showcases all of the projects by Williams County FFA chapters. We have some best of shows there this year. We also had some students participate in the open class floral show this year, which was put on by the gardening club. And we found out that like the gardening club floral show is very different than like a designer floral show. And the way that we design is not the way the garden club designs, but it was fine. Basically, their judge did not like our stuff, but it's fine. The girls were really proud of what they did, and people got to see what we're doing. We do also are in charge of the Barnyard Friends exhibit. If you get a chance to go to the fair, it is on the south side of the dairy barn, which is attached to the sheep barn. Us and West Unity FFA are responsible for the Barnyard Friends exhibit, and this year we made FFA barn ball, thanks to Anthony. It was his idea. He scrounged up the gravity wagon, and it was probably one of the most popular things at the fair. It did in time sometimes turn into like a Harlem Globetrotters exhibit, but you know, it was probably the most popular thing at the fair. So fair this year was awesome, especially since it was a normal fair, so we were happy about that. Next slide. Okay. We do also do some community outreach at the fair. We volunteer with the Lewis County Dairy Producers and the milkshake stand, which everybody loves because they can drink unlimited milkshakes, whether they're supposed to or not. They still do. But they walk away a sticky mess. And then I already talked about the Barnyard Friends exhibit, which is another community outreach. It just allows small children to interact with like baby farm animals. We have a sandbox that we fill with shelled corn that they play in all week and throw around, even though we tell them not to, but they do it anyway. We usually also hatch out eggs. We did not do that this year. We actually hatched them out in the classroom instead. But we usually do that at the fair too. So next slide. In the fall, our officer team does travel to the State House. We have a really good relationship with our legislators. And we participate in Ohio FFA's Legislative Leadership Conference. So they spend the morning working with Ohio Farm Bureau lobbyists and learn about what lobbying is and how bills get made into law and how legislators listen to their constituents and how votes affect how legislators are reelected and all that good stuff. And they really enjoy it every year. And then we get to have lunch with our legislators. Unfortunately, this year, our representative, Jim Hoops, was getting ready to go into session right when we were having lunch. So pretty much no representatives showed up to lunch. And our Senator, Rob McCauley, was out of the building that day, but we did get to go sit in on session for a little bit. And then we also found our senator's desk and sat at it.
Nice.
And then sent him a picture. So we do have a really good relationship with our representative and our senator. They both do attend our FFA banquet in the spring. And then they usually catch up with us at fair and a couple times else throughout the year. Next. We have not done a lot of contests this year. We did do dairy cattle judging this fall. We went to a dairy farm out by Hamler, and this was my livestock science class. So they went and got to judge dairy cows for the day. Like maybe one of these kids is a farm kid. So the rest of them, this was like a pretty cool experience. Well, I think it's a cool experience. I don't know if they actually thought it was a cool experience. I made them do it, but they seem to really enjoy it. I mean, they weren't at school, so they seem to enjoy that, but they also learned something. And then Mackenzie King and Bailey Joyce also represented us in the district job interview contest this year, which is basically you go and do like a faux job interview. They made it to the district level and did not make it onto state, but we rarely have people get to the district level, so we were happy about that. We have a lot of contests coming up in the spring. That's when we do like livestock judging. Our floral design contest is coming up in the spring. We actually placed 5th in the state out of 42 teams last year. So we're hoping to like bump it up into the top 4 so we can get recognized at convention. But we do have a lot more coming up. Our like next one is public speaking, but I can never get anyone to do that. I don't know why. So next slide. In October, we went to the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis. Last year convention was virtual, so we were so excited to be back in Indianapolis. As the school year started, National still was not quite sure what their stance was going to be on actually having convention in person. So that we're glad that we were able to go. We do try to set up some tours that are a little agricultural, some that are a little educational, and also super fun. So we did the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We also did the Bottle Works District, which I didn't even know existed. So apparently the largest Coca-Cola bottling factory in the world was in Indianapolis in like the 20s. And it shut down in the 60s and became part of the Indianapolis Public School District, and then was sold to a company, like a restoration company, and they have made it into like a hotel, and there's like food vendors and all this cool stuff. So we did tour the Bottle Works District. That was cool. We went to a honey farm, played with some bees. We did tour another farm that was a dairy operation that got like swept up in like the mass canceling of milk in like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, basically, when a lot of, I think it was like deans like dropped all of their farms. They were one of them. And so they told their whole story about how they turned to agritourism and basically like saved their farm. And we went to a rodeo and we did a bunch of fun stuff. So it was really good to be back in Indy. Next. These are just a couple of the projects that we have been doing this year. This is probably our largest project that we've done. Sam Wheeler wanted to make an L desk for his room. I would definitely call it an executive sized L desk. This thing was huge and I was not convinced that he had room in his room for it. It took him, he probably started it in September and he moved it out of here over Christmas break. So that's how long it took him. I'm not sure, I lost track of how many coats of varnish went on it and how many coats of clear coat went on it, but he did send me a finished picture of it and you can see like the light from his computer glaring off of it. So it did turn out really well. He was really proud of it. Last year we had a student build an solid oak kitchen table. We did a loft bed last year as well. So we've been building a lot of furniture projects lately. I just had a kid come to me the other day. I was like, I want to build this dresser. Okay, so we've got a lot going on in the shop all the time. Next slide. We do a lot of community service whenever we can. We did some leaf raking this fall for our friend Lola. She's one of our favorites. We raked her leaves last year. So we raked her leaves this year. I did have a group of officers serve at the senior citizens Christmas dinner. That was a lot of fun. And then every year we also are assigned a family in the school districts and purchase some Christmas presents for them. So all of our fundraising that we do when you support our fruit sale, most of that goes back into the community. We do a lot of community outreach. We also financially support like every athletic team in the building. We sponsor an outfield sign for baseball, softball. We sponsor the athletic department for the scoreboard table. We sponsor a lot of stuff financially in the school. So when you're supporting our fruit sale, it's not just so our kids can like get free t-shirts and go on trips. It's actually most of it goes back into the community and back into other organizations in the school. Next slide. This is our second year with our floral design program. We actually added an advanced class this year. And this winter, we had the opportunity to make a lot of memorial items. We did a lot of grave blankets, headstone saddles, centerpieces, you name it, wreaths. The floral class has actually really taken off in the 2 years that we've had it. I don't have any boys in it though. So like if you want to plug, I tell them all the time, I'm like, guys, this is a really good way to impress a girl. If you can be like, I arranged this bouquet myself, you know, that's gonna be way cooler than, hey, I went and bought this for you. So we did a lot of really neat memorial items over Christmas. It was really neat. And then, Travis, if you want to move to the next slide, last weekend, we actually did our first wedding. So Alyssa Swank approached us and wanted us to do the flowers for her wedding. And I was like, huh? These are high school kids. You're putting your wedding in the hands of high school kids. But actually my girls did really great. We spent all day Friday working on this stuff and some of Saturday morning, and everything turned out beautifully. So Floral program has definitely taken off, and hopefully we can continue that. Does anyone have any questions? That was a lot.
I have a comment.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for being ambassadors for the school district and the things that you're doing to enhance North Central local schools and our students' education. It's amazing, and thank you for presenting to us, because I think we all need to see this.
Anytime.
I have
Thank
something
you.
real quick too.
Yeah.
Just echoing Mr. Hannon. I think you can tell that you have a passion for what you do. And I think that helps get the kids excited. And I do think our FFA is the best around. So great job.
Thanks.
I am wondering, so you had mentioned that Mackenzie and Bailey had went to districts or something. Now, when somebody in basketball or cross country or whatever, we recognize them at the board meetings. Do we do that with like the FFA folk? or-
Typically, if we have state or American FFA degree winners, or if we win something at the state or the American level, we typically do. Districts is not as difficult to achieve in FFA as it is in athletics. So like 9 times out of 10, like the district level of the contest is the first level of the contest.
Okay.
So
You had
yeah.
said, like, sometimes we
Right,
haven't been there.
Right, well, so
if
like,
we were
there are certain
started-
contests where we have to have a county elimination level to begin with. And job interview just happens to be one of them. But like the dairy contest, that was our district contest. It's just how things are formatted. But
Okay.
when we do have students that win at the state or national level, they are recognized. Yeah. And we will have 2 state degree recipients this year in May.
Any more food truck updates?
I'm working on it. They shut down in the winter. I don't get what's up with that.
Anything else? Thank you. Treasury report. Mr. Schmaltz.
Item A, minutes from our December 14th, 2021 regular meeting. They are in your packet there. All the different financial statements and investments that are in there every month, those are also in your packet. We do have a few appropriation additions. One general fund, supplies and materials for $54,000, and then the other funds, public school support, a little over 1,600. Rotary, and then the 500s, those are all grant funds. So the other funds totaling 23,000. For the new board members, at the beginning of the fiscal year, we appropriate to the county auditor our appropriations, and they certify that we have the estimated resources to cover them. So when we go above those at the beginning of the year, then we have to approve it and send it in the auditor for them to certify that we still have resources to cover them. So that's what these are. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, I don't think it was last month, probably a couple months ago, we talked about the foundation report. That it was supposed to change. They were doing away with the in and outs for open enrollment. Just a number of things with how we were being funded was changing. We received our first one last Friday. So we compared the last one from December to the first one in January, and we are receiving a little over $300,000 increase in state funding. So definitely a positive, and I wanted to make that mention so that everybody was aware of that. So we weren't sure exactly how that was gonna fall with open enrollment being taken away in and out, but It came through at about just over, I think it was around 3:30 is where it was at. So just a positive thing that I thought I better mention. And that is all I had for tonight, unless there were specific questions about any of the reports in there.
That's for another day.
Good.
It's too long.
All right, I need a motion to approve the appropriation additions as follows. The general fund, supplies and materials for 54,000. And other funds, the public school support, 160752, Rotary 64436, ESSER 13698.67, the Perkins grant 993, and the Title I grant $6,086.76 for a total of $23,030.31. I need a motion. Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Katie,
Yes.
Chuck?
Yep.
Tim,
Yes.
Shane, Anthony.
Yes. Superintendent's report, Mr. Hennick.
All right, I want to start off with, it's board recognition month, January. So honoring our school board members. School board members exemplify local citizen control and decision-making in education. They volunteer hundreds of hours and an immeasurable amount of energy to ensure that our schools are providing the best education possible for the children of our community. For all their dedication, we are taking this opportunity to show them our appreciation during School Board Recognition Month. School board members are citizens whose decisions affect our children, what they learn, who will teach them, and what kinds of facilities house their classrooms. These are the men and women elected to establish the policies that provide the framework for our public schools. They represent you, and they take this responsibility seriously by attending lengthy, sometimes challenging meetings, conferences, and institutes where they broaden their knowledge about education during numerous conversations about the schools and sessions before the Ohio General Assembly. Our school board is one of more than 700 such school boards across the state. These boards enable us to have local control of public schools, meaning that decisions on school programming are made by local elected representatives who understand the community's unique problems, values, culture, and circumstances. With the advice of counsel on the educational professionals they hire, our school board has an impact on virtually every aspect of our schools. It is a huge responsibility and one that should not be taken lightly. Too often we neglect to recognize the dedication and hard work of these men and women who represent us. The staff and students of our school district are asking all local citizens to take a moment to tell any school board member, thanks for caring about our children's education. So thank you to the dedicated men and women who make it possible for local citizens to have a say about education in our communities. We salute the public servants of North Central local schools, whose dedication and civic responsibility make local control of public schools in our community possible. We applaud them for their vision and voice to help shape a better tomorrow. Now we have certificates for two that came off the board. Homer Hendricks served 24 years, which I took his certificate to him. And Lee Boothman, I also went and presented it to her. And we also have, she had 12 and a half years and Homer 24. I've got Anthony Burnett, 6 years. Tim Livengood, 4 years. Shane Martin, 14 years of service. And we have 2 new board members just elected at their first board meeting. Congratulations. We got Mrs. Katie Bird and Mr. Charles Haynes. And thank you, and I appreciate your service and looking forward to working with you. I've got training certificates. And I was hoping at the end of the meeting, maybe we can get a picture of this new board so we can get it out on the website.
Thank you.
Yes, you did. You're fine. We haven't gone home yet. Thank you. And at the end, we have to take a picture.
It's pretty special for 11 days of work.
Right?
Important that we recognize the hard work and dedication that's going to be put into being part of a school board. It's not an easy job, and that's what it is. I wanted to give you an update on the numbers. As of January 7th, which was Friday, we have 607. Just a comparison from 1 year ago on January 29th to 21, we were at 604. So the numbers are up a little bit. COVID-19 update as of today. We have had so far this year, and just to update you from last year, the whole 2021, we had 22 students and 32 staff last year. This year, we have 45 students and 11 staff, and that's 86 days of school as of today. So if we project out to 160 days, which takes us somewhere into May, or right before May, we would probably have approximately 84 students and 20 staff. That would be averaging out. Right now, the elementaries had 22 students. The junior high schools had 23, and we've had 11 staff. So far this month, we've had 3. 1 this week and 2 last week, just as an update. I want to thank Lawson's Logging for a donation of $500 to the backpack program over at the elementary. This was sent to me by Becky Renfern. She wanted to recognize them. And our next regular board meeting is February 22nd. Just as a reminder, I'll make sure that I remind all of you at 6:30. Right here in the Eagle Room where we'll have all our meetings. Another reminder, February 16th, 2022, that's the Northwestern Ohio ESC board training. It's at 7:30 p.m. over at Archibald at the Northwestern Ohio Educational Service Center. And if anybody has any questions, I have signed everybody up that wants to go. So
That's at 5 o'clock, right?
7:30.
Oh, I think I had 5:30 to 7.
I thought I had 5:30, so either.
It is 5:30.
I had 5.
5
5 to 7:30.
Let me look.
Yeah,
Yeah, right here, 5 to 7:30.
5 to 7:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got the 7:30 part right. I didn't get.
Yeah.
No, okay, 5 p.m. to 7:30. Yes, that's correct. So I just wanted, and you get dinner there too. And the dinners are pretty good. When we go over there. Other than that, I don't have anything else other than we're gonna need an executive session for personnel and negotiations. Personnel and negotiations. I just want to make sure that you are aware of that. And Carrie Ware from the Northwestern Ohio ESC will be here. We told her to be here around 7. She's gonna meet with the board to talk about personnel, specifically superintendent.
She said she'd be here probably. She's probably out right now, but she said she'd just be waiting for us whenever we get there.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Moore.
All right, good evening, everyone. I have a short report for the Christmas break. With regards to Christmas break, it's always nice to see the students come back and greet the staff back and get ready for the second semester of the school year. I do want to thank and recognize Teresa Berkey once again. I mentioned at the last meeting that Teresa approached me, which was November, and hey, Mr. Moore, I wrote this book. I'm authoring a book about a raccoon that I fostered and raised. So I'm like, really? So it really caught my interest, and she wanted to read it to like the first grade or second grade. And I go, I'd love for you to come in and read it and share your story with the kindergarten through third grade. So we had a little assembly right before break on a Friday, and she came in and met with the students, read the book. She had a little slideshow of the raccoon, and of course that was a hit. Pictures of the baby raccoon and growing up and so on and so forth. But it was really a nice little presentation. I think maybe Tim or Homer popped in to watch as well, or Anthony. I remember a couple board meeting members there, but it was a nice little story. You know, what an accomplishment to write a book, and we talked about that. Some things that we work on in the classroom, of author and illustration and that type of thing. So. And then at the end, we surprised the kids that she donated and gave each one of the kids a book. So I thought that was awesome. As they were, heading out, we handed them a book. Obviously, from someone local, but you know, Christmas time, spirit of Christmas, so that was real nice. So Teresa, speaking of Christmas, I know we had a big Christmas program. Ms. Gillespie is so spirited. She loves her program. She did a wonderful job. The kids, the staff stayed, they helped, so that was a success that night. We had some Christmas movies going on. We had a little field trip over to Liaison. Obviously, the donations I talked about this summer, everything went well. It was busy, but it all went well. So, you know, I want to thank everybody for their efforts right before Christmas break. Speaking of semester, we had our second 9 weeks awards assembly the other day, Thursday and Friday in the auditoria. And I really enjoy them. I enjoy seeing the kids, obviously them recognized academically, but also just socially and who they are as kids, and the teachers talk from the heart about that. And I enjoy that more than anything. It's just, you know, obviously we're here for the academics, but just to talk, hear the teachers talk about how far they've come from that first 2 or 3 days, now the halfway point, but still we got to motivate them. Like I told the second, third, fourth graders, you got to get ready now. Third graders, fourth grade is not too far away. So we got to keep working with our students, obviously. So that again, great assembly we had for the staff and students. This Friday, we have Basketball Jones coming, and he's been coming to elementary, geez, since I've been here, and he does a wonderful job with his assembly. Obviously, he's very entertaining with basketball, he does these tricks, and the kids love it, but also his message is about respect, hard work, and be the person you can be. And the kids really enjoy it, and Marcia's joining in on the fun this year. So the elementary is going to have their assembly at 12:30, and Marcia and the high school, middle school, they're going to go at 1:30. But again, if you can pop up, if you haven't seen Basketball Jones, if you have a chance, swing on up. He does a wonderful job. And also, as Shane and Tim mentioned earlier with regards to the evacuation drill, I thought it's not something we wanted to do, but once we met with Mr. Hannick and Tim and whatnot, we talked a little bit. I met quickly with my team, Julie, Becky, you know, nurse viewers, and said, here's the plan, you go. Then as soon as I got on the PA and made the announcement, you heard the feet going, the teachers, you know, organizing, getting the students over there, and within 2-3 minutes, seemed like the building was empty and they're headed towards the church. So it went well. It's not something we want to, you know, obviously do again, but for the most part, I thought it went well. Within 11:15 to right around 1 o'clock, 2 hours, it was picked up and taken care of. So again, thanks to the staff and getting everything organized and stepping up. Like Tim said, people stepped up today, so it was nice. It was good. Anything for me? Questions?
I just have one. So with the assemblies, I know, you know, pre-COVID, we always did the 1 through 3 in the gym and the 4 through 6 in the gym. And you're still doing them like a class at a time?
Correct. Yeah.
Is that just something that will continue?
We talked about that, and you know, with regards to what you said, historically, pre-COVID, it was, yeah, maybe first through third together, that type of thing. And when we talked, and the teachers and I, we like that just with that group.
Yeah,
And
I can
just
see pros and cons to both.
it's real nice to talk about those kids about 15-20 minutes. And we thought about, you know, those kindergarten or those first graders sitting through the first and second and third, then that's a little bit of academic time maybe lost, and just to hone in on my crew. We like the rotation thus far, so we talked about it and bounced it around. We said, hey, let's keep it going for another year. So
Yeah.
so okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Thanks.
Great job. And I like seeing the stuff on social media. I think a lot of people take liking to that, and, you know, speaks volume, I think, to the school, seeing the kids there and receiving the rewards, and so, yeah, job well done.
Good. Thanks.
Mrs. Rosebank.
Yeah, mine will be a little bit shorter than his, because all I have to do is say ditto. And everything he said, that's pretty much. We had a band and choir concert, Christmas concert. It was fantastic. They did 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 through 12 band, and then the junior high school choir. Very proud of the kids. We have begun working on next year's schedule. The teachers have turned in their suggestions for changes and for improvements. classes might be a little different or things they've offered. We are looking at some more advanced courses. We added the advanced floral. We also added an advanced English 11, 12. And next year, we're going to have an advanced 10, 11, 12. So we're going through some changes as far as that's concerned. It's possible, although this is not 100% yet, we may have some AP classes too. We're looking at some of those, and I have some teachers who would like to offer those. So we're pushing things up a little bit, making some of those academic changes for our students. NHS is having Honor Society, by the way, National Honor Society is having a blood drive February the 8th. And Kendra just got the notification again, in the reminder, I guess you'd say, last week. So we're working on that. The ACT is going to be given to all juniors on March the 1st. And this is where we go down to the community center and all juniors take it. They're going to take a practice test. Oh, she gave me the dates. I didn't write them down. About a week and a half before that. I don't remember the dates exactly. State testing, which is the big deal for both elementary, well, upper elementary and junior high, high school. But we're not going to start our state testing until after spring break. So we don't have the exact dates for any of the, we do, but we don't have a schedule for the testing. So I don't know which day, which test will be on for which classes. But we're not going to start until after spring break. So that gives us a little bit of extra time. Upcoming events, there's a mistake on the very first one. It really was not a mistake. I changed it after I printed this. It was supposed, this junior high awards assembly was supposed to be tomorrow, but because of some things going on, it can't be tomorrow. So it's going to be next week on the 19th. Now that's a 7 and 8 only, and it's in the little gym. And this is the time when we recognize no detentions, we recognize honor roll. The teachers give individual awards recognition to students. So we're not doing that until the 19th. And then the rest of the thing, we are participating in the basketball Jones assembly, as Andy said. I think the kids are going to get a kick out of it. I think it'll be a good, I think all of them are going to enjoy it and have some fun with it, which that's the point. I know he has a great message too, because I've heard him, but it's been 100 years ago. But I think it'll be good for the kids. That's it. Any questions?
How's the junior high or 8th grade reward trip looking?
Oh, we do have a date, possibly. He had to put in for 4 days. It looks like, I don't know for sure which one he got back. We're also doing the mud hens thing again. We are also doing a roller skating thing again for the kids. This is junior high. So yes, we're getting back into the things that we used to do that the kids really worked toward. They were incentives, let's be honest, and enjoyed.
Thank you. Mr. Mackey.
Yes, sir. I don't have quite as much detail from our report. I've been out until this week since the beginning of December, so just getting back in the swing of things. I'm a little bit behind, but I do have updated records for all of our teams and an update regarding our postponed game with Antwerp. We've got a date set for the makeup for that. So I'll start right with boys basketball, since that's what I'm talking about. We have varsity boys are sitting at 6-3, pretty solid record. So far this year, JV is at 8-1. The boys are playing really, really hard basketball. That game for Antwerp has tentatively, it's not been put in just yet, but both myself and the AD over there agreed on February 1st. That's a Tuesday. The only other game we have that week is Eton on Friday. So it's a good week for us to be able to get down to Antwerp and play that very good basketball team they have down there. As far as junior high boys, 8th grade sitting at 5-5 and 7th grade is at 10-0 right now. So really, really good things going on for the junior high boys. Girls basketball, varsity is at 6-5 and JV is at 5-6. And those girls have been struggling with low numbers all year. So they're really You got a lot of girls pulling double duty, playing lots of minutes, the maximum that they're allowed to play from night to night, and really putting in a lot of effort, playing really hard basketball, really proud to see that. Junior high, struggling a little bit right now, but I'm sure they'll get it going. They still got a lot of talent, playing really hard. 8th grade's 3 and 8, and 7th grade's 1 and 8. Obviously, we talked about a few less games here and there because Stryker and Fayette have been struggling with numbers, so it's constantly touch and go. Did not get a detailed update from indoor track, but I know they've had some meets, and Coach Taylor is on COVID protocol, called me today along with all the other stuff that was going on, so we're gonna be missing our next couple indoor track meets, so that's going on. As far as cheerleaders, I don't know how much everybody's paying attention, but you guys didn't notice, they had the idea for our most recent game against Hilltop there to do an ESPN-C broadcast live from the front of the student section. And they had an announcer's booth, and they did a Facebook Live broadcast. I gave them the idea to wear video gaming headsets, so they look like real announcers, and it was a really neat thing, and they got really fired up about it. And they had an awesome atmosphere in our student section so far this year. I think the school spirit is strong, and it's excited. Our fans have been really cheering loud. I know we had a game during the holiday. It was before the holiday tournament. I can't remember exactly what it was because it all kind of blends together, but I know we had a packed house, and there was free throws at the very end of the game, and our student section went nuts, and the free throws were missed, and we got out of there with a 1-point win. I got goosebumps right now just thinking about it. That was awesome to see our crowd that engaged and that really involved in the outcome of the game. I think school spirit has been great atmosphere over there, and I attribute that in no small part to our cheerleaders and the work they're doing. So they're doing an awesome job also. So that's what I've got as far as the athletic report. Is there any questions?
You touched on a little bit. I just want to say that student section it's so nice to see them back here and cheering and having fun. The theme nights, I mean, it's just great to watch those kids and come in with the different themes, and they're enjoying themselves. It's a good feeling just seeing a packed gym again and everybody in there having fun. So appreciate everything you've done on that, and just want to say good call on the game the other night. I know usually you get some kickback on stuff like that, but the timing was perfect. It done just as you predicted, and our student safety and family safety is key, and it's a good call on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Anybody else? Recommendations by the superintendent. I believe y'all had it in front of you. Proclamation for School Board Recognition Month. And read that here. Whereas more than 700 boards of education oversee and manage the personnel and property of school districts throughout Ohio. And whereas school board members are elected to establish the policies that provide the framework for their schools. And whereas school board members devote hours of their time each week to provide leadership to their local schools. And whereas school boards fill an important role with members creating and monitoring district plans to make sure students have the tools and skills to reach their full potential. And whereas school boards maintain communication with all segments of their communities to keep the public informed of district activities. And whereas school board members advocate for the best interest of the students served in their district. And whereas throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, Ohio school boards have played an important role in providing safe, ongoing instruction to students. And whereas it is important that communities support school boards so that students receive the best education and are prepared for the leaders of tomorrow. And now therefore, we, Mike DeWine and John Husted, Governor and Lieutenant Governor of the state of Ohio, do hereby recognize January as School Board Recognition Month. On this day, January 10th, 2022, we will pass this resolution to approve the attached proclamation. Do I have a motion?
Can I just say something real quick? I just feel a little weird about the school board approving a proclamation for School Board Recognition Month. I mean, does that rub anybody else the wrong way? I
feel we're
appreciate what they're trying to do,
we're
but,
approving it to put it publicly in our district is the reason we approve it, is how I see it.
okay.
And I put up a postage that sent us over there.
Do I have a motion? A second? I'll second. Roll call.
Chuck.
I guess.
Jim. Shane. Anthony.
Yes.
Katie.
No, I'm sorry, I just can't.
Next, I would like to request a motion to amend the agenda and add an additional resolution to be voted on tonight. Is that all I need for the
Yeah, you
initial
need
motion?
to amend the agenda and then you need to
Do I?
get someone to.
Have a motion.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Sure.
Roll call.
Anthony,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Shane,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Chuck.
Yep.
The agenda.
Tonight, I'd like to bring forth the resolution, the North Central Local School District prohibiting the teaching of critical race theory. I'll go ahead and read it. Whereas racism has no place in American society and especially not in the North Central Local School District. Whereas the NCLS condemns racism and will not tolerate racism and racist conduct. Whereas critical race theory, CRT, is an ideology based on false assumptions about the United States of America and its population. Whereas the definition foundation of critical race theory involving an artificial distortion of the traditional definition of racism is fatally flawed. Whereas critical race theory is a diverse ideology that assigns moral fault to individuals solely on the basis of an individual's race and therefore is itself a racist ideology. Whereas critical race theory assigns generational guilt and racial guilt for conduct and policies that are long in the past. Whereas critical race theory violates the fundamental principles of equal protection under law. Whereas critical race theory views social problems primarily as racial problems and thus detracts from analysis of underlying social economic causes of social problems. Whereas the Board of Education of NCLS has the legal authority to determine the curriculum taught in NCLS within the perimeters set by law. Whereas the Board of Education can require teachers to teach the curriculum approved by the Board of Education. Whereas the laws of the United States of America and the state of Ohio do not require that critical race theory be taught in public schools, grades K through 12. I would like to get a motion, a resolution to prohibit the teaching of teaching of content related to the critical race theory, CRT, at North Central local schools.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Discussion?
I would just like to say that critical race theory is very, very difficult to put a definition on. And there are a lot of content areas that can be misconstrued into critical race theory. And therefore, my position on this resolution will be a no vote for those reasons, not that I agree with the ideologies of critical race theory. So I just want to put that out there before my no vote. It's not that I agree with critical race theory. It's that our teachers are put, I believe, by a resolution will be put in a corner on a lot of content that does need to be taught and could be turned on them and said, you're teaching critical race theory when they are teaching history. And I think for that reason, my vote will be no on this resolution. And I just wanted to explain that as to why.
I guess my hope is that like we're putting our faith in them. I don't think any teacher here agrees with critical race theory. I do not. And I hope they would trust us to know that it's not going to be a blanket thing. It's not, you're going to have people coming to us. We're not just going to say, oh, well, this parent said this, so there you go. It's definitely going to be a case by case basis, and I'm not even sure we'll have case by case basis. But right is right and wrong is wrong, and everything that critical race theory stands for. Like I said, I don't think there's anybody in the school system that would agree with that. I really don't. So I just think, you know, it's been talked about for months and months and months, and we just need to bite the bullet, say we don't accept it here at North Central and move on.
I agree. I don't think there's anybody on our staff that agrees with it and accepts it. I don't believe there's anybody here teaching it and instilling it. To me, this is just protection for our district and our students and our families, I feel. I think our teachers do a great job. We're not gonna get the CRT police in here. I know we've had discussions around that. Like Katie said, case by case, if a parent brings it to a principal or a superintendent, we'll look into it and get answers and go from there. Not looking to look over the teachers' backs and say, oh, that's got a little CRT in it. It's a very broad subject, and there's many broad areas that I think anybody could nitpick CRT out of stuff we were taught 25 years ago, if you really look at it and dig deep. So
I guess essentially what I'm seeing from this is we are saying that we are not going to base anything on race. Like, I don't think we do that here anyway.
I don't think.
Equity and equality are way two different things. And we're kind of just moving into this equity thing, and it's something that on the local level, we need to really start paying attention to, because equity and equality are not the same thing.
I think what I take out of this here, after looking at this and discussing it, and studying it, and seeing the many distorted definitions of what critical race theory is and how controversial it can really be. I guess when I take a look at this here, I guess I'm not looking at this as though it says ban up and down. Okay, I mean, this is almost more of a proclamation, essentially kind of extending a letter that had already been put out before, where it addresses that we do not wish to teach us here. And I agree. I don't condone it. No way, shape, or form do I accept it. It's not acceptable. And I would agree. I don't believe, nobody has brought anything to me here that definitively says that our curriculum here, or any bitter piece of our curriculum here that's being taught is critical race theory. I think we have to continue to have an element of faith in our staff and our teachers to do the right thing. I do, however, believe that quite often you look long enough and hard enough, you can always find something wrong with something or someone. So I think we have to take every situation that gets brought to us, and take a very close look at it. And certainly, I ourselves at, no desire to sit here and look over anybody's back. I give full faith and trust until somebody proves me otherwise, that I'm wrong. So,
I agree. That's not what this is all about here is policing and looking over everybody's shoulder. I'll reiterate again, I don't think it's in our district and people are teaching it here. It's just taking a stand that we do not approve of it and we don't want it in our district. Any other discussion? Roll call, Mr. Smeltzer?
Anthony,
Yes.
Tim?
yes.
Shane?
No.
Katie?
Yeah.
Chuck?
Yes.
On the consent agenda, we have employment pending record, supplemental contracts for 21-22 as follows. A 1-year supplemental contract held by classified employees. Katie Burt, a volunteer junior class advisor. We need to rescind Katie Burt as ED 59 junior class advisor. We have the Ohio School Board Association 2022 annual membership at $3,947. We have the Northwest Ohio ESC teacher and paraprofessional substitute list dated December 22nd, 2021 for the 2022 school year. Do I have a motion? Second,
I'll second.
any discussion? Roll call?
Tim?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
Anthony?
Yes.
Katie?
I don't know, should I abstain because I'm in it?
That's up to you.
Okay, I'll abstain.
I guess Katie's all right, what? It's about her.
Pending records. Next, that will put us in executive session for personnel and negotiations. I need a motion to enter into executive session. A second, please.
Oh,
Roll call.
Shane?
Yes.
Anthony?
Yes.
Katie?
yes.
Chuck?
Yeah.
Tim?
Yes.
No action.
There'll be no action. Executive session.